Hi everybody, thanks for watching. In this video, we're going to practice writing chemical equations from a given word equation. The hard part when you're doing this is not really the equation, it's all of the different types of formulas that you have to write along the way. In general, at this point, there's 4 different types of formulas you'll see. The formulas for molecules, which are covalently bonded substances, ionic substances, lone elements, and acids. The first challenge is identifying which of these 4 formula types you have to write. Molecules can always be identified because they're made of only nonmetals. Ionic substances are metals attached to nonmetals. Lone elements are just that, single elements not bonded to anything else. And acids are the easiest because their name always ends with the word acid. Once you've got your formula type identified, then you can follow the specific rules for that type. And we're going to go over these really fast because you should have learned about all of them in the past. So this will just be some general reminders you can use. Molecule formulas are written using whatever prefixes are given in the name. That's nice and easy. Ionic formulas, you write the cation first, the anion last, and add in your own subscripts to balance out the positive and the negative charges. Lone elements are the easiest, it's just the symbol for that element, unless that element is one of these 7, in which case you add a subscript of 2. Acids take the most work. They all follow the format HX, but you've got to plug in the X, and the X can be an element if the name of the acid starts with hydro. X is an 8 polyatomic ion if it's named as ic acid, or it's an 8 polyatomic ion if it's named as us acid. Make sure you've taken a moment to write these down before we go any further. There's some other references that'll be helpful to have available from the beginning, such as a polyatomic ions chart and a chart that lists the charges that ions will have in an ionic substance. So now let's take a look at our first example as we try to write the chemical equation for the word equation. Magnesium metal reacts with aqueous hydrochloric acid to produce magnesium chloride and hydrogen gas. Remember that all chemical equations follow the same format: reactants first, products second. And I like to start by finding a word in the sentence like to produce. To produce is going to let me separate the reactants that come before it from the products that come after it, and I've got those color-coded to show you what I mean. Now comes the hard part. We have to write the formula for each of these substances. The first one listed is magnesium metal, which luckily is the easiest type. It's a lone element, and it's not one of the 7 that come with a subscript of 2. So all I have to do is write the symbol for magnesium, which is Mg. You might want to put in a parenthesis S as well because it does say metal, and most metals are solids. Next, I've got hydrochloric acid, which of course is an acid. So it's going to follow the format HX. My job now is to plug in the X. Since the name of the acid starts with hydro, X is an element, and the name is hydrochloric acid, so the element that I fill in is chlorine. With acids, you do have to check that the charges balance, just like ionic substances. Here we've got a +1, -1, so they already balance. You could also throw in a parenthesis AQ after HCl because it says that it's aqueous. Since there's 2 different reactant formulas, I also want to separate them with a plus sign. Next up, we have magnesium chloride, which is an ionic substance, so I start by writing the symbol for the cation, that's Mg. Next comes the symbol for the anion, that's chloride. Because it's ionic, I have to check the charges to see how they balance. Mg is a +2, chloride is a -1. The way to make a +2 balance with a -1 is adding 2 chlorides. So the formula would be MgCl2. Lastly, we've got hydrogen gas, which is another lone element. This time it is one of the 7 that come with a subscript of 2. So I can't just put H. Hydrogen is H2. It also describes it as a gas, so I'll fully complete this by putting parenthesis G. Let's take a look at a second example. This time, try and pause the video to give it a shot yourself before looking at the answer. So here's what you should have come up with for this equation. The first formula is for hydrogen gas. Hydrogen is one of the special 7 that gets a 2. Notice parenthesis G because it's a gas. That's reacting with nitrogen monoxide, our first example of a molecule. The prefix mono told me to just put 1 oxygen in the formula. Now it says to produce, so I put my reaction arrow. Water vapor is just common knowledge. Water is H2O. Vapor means it's a gas. And lastly, nitrogen gas is a lone element, also part of the special 7. That should get a subscript of 2. So that concludes this example and this video. Thanks for watching.